Is Ahsoka really dead? Ahsoka episode 4 is finally out, and I have to say, this might be one of the best pieces of Star Wars content we've gotten in a long time. One of the things I wanted to talk about is this scene right here. The scene that has everybody talking about right now, the return of Anakin Skywalker. But more importantly, what does this scene actually mean? Let's get right into it. In the episode, we see Balin's skull fight off against Ahsoka, in which I really thought was an epic duel between the two. Now, what a lot of people are wondering right now is how is Balin able to beat out Ahsoka in this duel? I mean, this can't be possible, right? Considering she's the Padawan of the Chosen One. Well, let's break it down. First off, she had an extremely bad burn on her left hand. We do see her in a lot of pain throughout the fight, and clearly it did slow her down. It's like she's completely beaten up. I mean, she even tries to use the Force to hold Balin's saber back, but with all the strength he's putting into it, it's impossible for her to even maintain. Not only this, but what we really need to understand is that Ahsoka's main purpose here is not really to defeat Balin or kill Balin, but to destroy the map to Thrawn. Stopping Thrawn has been her priority this entire series and continues to be so even in this fight. So by adding all of this up, it kind of makes a little bit more sense to why Ahsoka would lose this fight, but anyways, let's get into the crazy part. The next we see Ahsoka is later on in the episode when she wakes up in what is called the World Between Worlds. Now, for those that don't know, the World Between Worlds was basically like a mystical realm within the Force. This place connected all of time and space, both the present and the future. In this realm, there are multiple different doors and portals, and in these portals, you can witness events that happen throughout the years in Star Wars. We first saw the World Between Worlds in the show Star Wars Rebels when Ezra Bridger was here. Ezra was able to see Ahsoka fight off against Darth Vader, and he pulled her out of her fight to end up saving her life. So knowing what we know now, this could mean that Ahsoka is in fact dead, but there's a catch. And I'll get into that shortly, but let's pretend that Ahsoka is dead. She dies from Balin's skull and she returns to the World Between Worlds. This leads us up to where she sees Anakin. When we see Anakin approach her, he looks totally different than he normally should. If you remember, at the end of Return of the Jedi when he was a Force Ghost, he was not wearing that mechanical hand, and on top of it, he was also wearing lighter robes. If you want to learn more about why he had these lighter robes, I did attach a video up above. But anyways, so if Anakin has a different appearance in this realm, I'm wondering what this could mean. Maybe this is Anakin Skywalker, but in the form of how Ahsoka last saw him. Now, why would this happen? Well, this is where things get crazy. The Mortis Gods. For those that don't know, the Mortis Gods were the three gods of the Force. The daughter who represented the light, the son who represented the dark, and the father who represented the balance between both. In the Clone Wars, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka unintentionally go to the realm of Mortis, and that's where the three gods were. These gods believed Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one and he would bring balance to the Force. The father tells him this and puts Anakin through multiple tests and trials, and Anakin passes all of them. Not only this, but it resulted in the death of all three of the Mortis gods. The father, the son, and the daughter all died. However, there was a key moment here that may be the reason for everything. On their time on Mortis, Ahsoka had experienced death before the daughter sacrificed the remaining of her life force to live in Ahsoka. This ended up killing the daughter, but it allowed Ahsoka to live. After this day, a convoy bird named Morai began to follow Ahsoka everywhere and became her guardian in a way. This bird had spiritual ties to the daughter.
Morai, you're here.
Morai?
She's an old friend. I owe her my life.
So now that we know this, how does this relate to Anakin? Well, watch this.
I am dying, and you must replace me.
Anakin is the new father. That is why we see him appear as a Jedi, but we hear the Vader theme music play at the end of the episode, because he is both. Anakin had to experience both the light and the dark to be where he is now, to be the balance between the two. And it totally makes sense. Now, you may ask, what about Ahsoka? Well, she's the daughter now. The daughter lives in her, and now Ahsoka can take that next step in her life. This time during the World Between Worlds could be Anakin's way of telling Ahsoka that his fall to the dark side was not her fault. She can finally leave the guilt she's been feeling for so many years after she left the Jedi Order. Not only this, but what if Anakin can teach Ahsoka everything he knows about the Force right now so she can become even stronger than she was before? Which leads me to my next point. Dave Filoni has mentioned in the past that he's a big fan of Lord of the Rings as well as Gandalf the White. For those that don't know, Gandalf died physically, but he was resurrected and then he became Gandalf the White. The crazy part was, he was even more powerful than he was before. So how does this relate to Ahsoka? Well, Ahsoka the White. This scene in Rebels might actually make more sense than we think. A lot of fans thought these were the same two scenes and they just retconned how she looked. Well, what if these are actually two different scenes and she comes back even stronger than she was before? So this is what I think. After Anakin has spoken with Ahsoka, she can finally go back in time and rewrite her wrongs as Ahsoka the White. Her mentality this whole time was to find Thrawn, and she kept telling Sabine that Thrawn is way more important to find than Ezra. I mean, imagine how Sabine feels about all this. We learned something brand new, and that was that all of Sabine's family died, and from what Balin Skoll said, it was because of Ahsoka. My guess is they were being invaded on Mandalore, and Ahsoka told Sabine not to go and help them, and which led to the Empire destroying Mandalore. And as much as I love Ahsoka, she's doing the same thing again now. She's prioritizing Thrawn over the only thing that Sabine calls family, which is Ezra. So with this said, there are two things that happen from here. Ahsoka goes into the world between worlds and she sees Mandalore. She sees Mandalore getting bombed from the Empire and she tries to save Sabine's family. But she realizes she can't do this. She cannot change that event. Very similar to how Ezra tried to rescue Kanan from his death, but if he ended up doing that, there would have been a lot of consequences. After seeing this, Ahsoka realizes Ezra is the closest thing Sabine has as family now, so she decides she wants to fix her mistakes. If Ahsoka cannot save Sabine's family, she can at least save the closest thing to that. Now, another possibility is what if Ahsoka realizes she needs Ezra? We know who the daughter is, and we know who the father is, but what about the son? Well, this would be Ezra. We've seen Ezra tap into his dark side in the past, and he could be the missing key to all of this. Not only this, but Ezra was able to open the portal to the world between worlds. Not any average Force user can do that. I mean, not even Palpatine could. So I really think Ezra is a lot more powerful than we think he is. Anyways, that's my theory. I will be honest, this was supposed to be a completely different video, but the more I thought, the more things just came to mind. And the thought of all this just got me really excited. What do you think about this theory? Do you agree with it, or do you think something else will happen? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.